Alright, so this is a weird title, I know it is, but my father-in-law wants my house, and he's not going to rest, he's not going to stop until his name is put on the deed of the house. Guys, this is a crazy story about my father-in-law. Here it is. Sometimes I'm reminded of how comically entitled some people are. I try so hard to respect other people, especially if they're older than me, as that is what my parents taught me growing up. But some people just make it too hard. I did something I wish I did not do, or have to do, because no one ever must be separated from his or her family. But my husband's father is incredibly toxic. He takes advantage of the fact that he is the head of the family, and emotionally abuses others, but I'll never take it. It started a week after my wedding when my husband's family showed me their true colors. My husband was not the problem here. In fact, he has been very supportive throughout the whole matter. He tried his hardest to bring peace to the family, but they take advantage every time. We got married a few weeks ago after dating for 5 years. I've not seen his family that often because we lived in a different city, but when we started dating, we found out that we came from the same hometown. So, in the initial stages of dating, I asked my father if he knew anything about their family since he networks a lot. What he told me, well, was not good news. He said that Jordan's father worked for his friend several years ago and tried to sue his friend for an accident. That did not happen. He lost the case, but started bad-mouthing the business because he did not get what he wanted. My father did not want me to date Jordan because of what he knew his parents are capable of, but Jordan himself was nothing like that. Sure enough, my dad meets him, making up his mind that he would never hold his parents against him. When our relationship got serious enough for me to meet his parents, I was confused because of their behavior. His mom and dad seemed to know an awful lot about my family and were interested in arranging dinner for both of our families to meet. I felt that was a premature thing to do, but was pressurized by his mom. Not only that, but I ended up having to give the bracelet I was wearing to his little sister. It was not the little girl's problem, it was his mom who subtly put pressure on me, acting as if I could easily get another one because I came from a well-off family. For the next 5 years, I tolerated them, but each meeting left a very sour taste in my mouth. I felt that they were very pretentious and offensive. They were the kinds of people who would yell at strangers, felt that they should get top priority in any line, and always complain. I remember this one time when I was at the bridal shop with his mother shortly after I got engaged, and she made a big deal over the color of my dress to the shop owner. Then, when the owner told the options that we might have to pay a bit extra, she got mad and started calling the Mexican woman an incompetent immigrant, asking her if there was no such thing as a customer care where she came from. I apologized a lot before we left, but I was so embarrassed. What made me mortified was that it was in front of my family. She tends to do embarrassing stuff like that, giving unwanted comments to strangers with no regard for how the person feels about it. It's so hard to believe that Jordan comes from that kind of family. I hold my tongue at times when it's been someone else. I would have told them straight up that they were being difficult. I see how embarrassed he gets when we're out with him, but it's not his fault that he did not have much luck with his parents. So after a pretty hectic wedding, to say the least, where my in-laws made it all about myself instead of about me and him, the drama came. It had to be with the house in his town that my parents gifted us. We were already planning to move back so we can be closer to our family and since we want to have children one day. But we were still looking for a place to stay. My parents were such darlings when they gifted us this beautiful big house in a neighborhood that's close to a school, as well as the CBD. My father-in-law joked, and he should have gotten the gift instead since he and his wife brought my husband into the world. I thought it was just a joke, until my father gave me a call days later. He sounded angry to the point of exploding, which is something rare to find in him. He's a good-natured man. He does not explosively lose his temper hardly ever. He asked me why would I make such a promise to my new in-laws. I was very confused, but the more I found out, the more horrified I got. I did not get how I got such bad luck with a father-in-law who would visit my father in the middle of a meeting and demand that he should give him some farmland. I'm even scared to try to find out how he knew that my father has farmland out of town. He bought the land years ago and has not done anything with it. I would not be surprised if they found out about the land because of eavesdropping. But anyways, I managed to get my father to calm down, and then I told Jordan what happened. He just told me, he'll sort it out, before he left, and did not answer my call for hours. When he came back, he looked devastated. If there's something about him, it's that he values family a lot, which is why he's not cut them off for so long. He once told me that his biggest fear was being without a family. He told me that when he got there, his father was mad at him and refused to even address him for hours, saying that he was not his son. That is so crazy. But the man's dramatic enough to pull a stunt like that when he does not get what he wants. But what irked me the most is that he said his dad wanted us to give him either part ownership of the house or for my parents to transfer the farmland into his father's name. His father believes now that they're family and obligated to uplift each other. My initial reaction was that he was being ridiculous, and that even for him this was an all-time low. He would not know anything about my family if it hit him in the face. So those two probably had been plotting this for a long time, which was why they wanted to get me married to him so badly. I should have told him to cut them off ages ago, but I am not like that. And to top it off, he said that his father told him to bring me to their place the next day so that we could discuss the matter. I told my mother what he said, and she told me not to even entertain them for a second, and that no daughter of hers is a puppet. He wanted me to go because he was scared of upsetting his father, but I did not give a damn. So that was how the entire family ambushed me in my own home. Jordan was quiet when they told him that he failed to control his wife, and that since I was married to him, I was supposed to look after this family, and not my own selfish needs. How was refusing to give a gift, quote, a gift to my in-laws being selfish? That land was worth a lot of money. We could not just give it to them. My father-in-law told me that he's been wrong about me, and that he should have never approved of me. He told me that because of the family was going to hate me and would never recognize me as a daughter-in-law, he said that his son should have gotten married to someone much younger. Keep in mind, they never had an issue with the fact that I'm 2 years older than him in the past. He told me that I lacked respect towards older people. Therefore, they did not think I deserved to remain in the family. That upset me. It upset me so much because of how much I tried to get along with them in the past, even if they go against some that I believe in. My mother-in-law just added salt to the open wound by telling me that if she wanted, she could get him married to someone who was not as wild as me. They told me that they could not let us a person without morals like me become the mother of their grandchildren, as that would surely bring us bad luck. This was when he told them to stop. Just stop and leave his house. His mom acted as if he insulted her just by voicing his opinion. She told him that she was very disappointed in him, and that he was not the son she's raised. The next few days were filled with them calling and messaging at hours of all day. I blocked them so many times, but they got new numbers and new accounts as if it was nothing. Unlike them, I have a job so I could not entertain it. We tried not to let it affect our lives, but the tension started building in a couple of days. I had no idea what they said to him, but he was starting to offer alternate solutions, trying to convince me to talk to my dad. I felt like he betrayed me at the same time, but now that I think of it, they all knew during his childhood, and though he worked hard to process the trauma, he's not so immune to their abuse. What's up guys, Mr. Reddito here. So there's an update for this story. We're going to look at part 2 now. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss these updates. I hope you're having an amazing day. Here's update part number 2. Well, he told me one day that his dad gave him a few days to fix this or else he was going to denounce him. What kind of father decides to disown his son because of wanting property? I could not just go to my parents and tell them to give me property for my in-laws. We did not do that kind of stuff in our family. I was even surprised when my parents gifted us this house because since I was young, they emphasized the importance of working hard for yourself. They taught all of us to be self-efficient, and if we messed up, there was no bailing out. It scared me to think of begging them to dance to the whims of those two, because if anything, my parents were both very stubborn. But now, he was asking me if maybe we could not get them a small plot with their own savings, because he did not want to be cut out. He told me that he wanted us to have a large family one day, and for our kids to know their grandparents, asking me if it was really worth it to burn those bridges. I thought of it for all of 2 seconds before I decided to stick with my decision. I was prepared to maybe just let him be with his parents if they were so important to him. I was about so much more than his parents and had more to do with the sacrifices I made during our relationship to accommodate his family. He had a very toxic relationship with them. No wonder they used to be so comfortable with asking him for money whenever they please. We did not talk for several days, and I feared that maybe this would be an unfixable issue that we would never agree on. One Saturday morning, I got home from work to find that he was not home. I checked his location. Yes, we both do that sometimes for safety, and found out that he was at his cousin's house. I knew there was a barbecue there, but we agreed not to go. I checked his cousin's stories and I could recognize him in several pictures and videos. So I got dressed and crashed the family barbecue. I know, that was super petty of me, but I was not happy about him lying to me, plus his cousin was on good terms with us. When I got there, I saw that he's been drinking and he did not look too happy to see me. But I ignored him and focused on talking to everyone else but him. I was enjoying the good food that Layla, his cousin, brought from me, when suddenly the plate knocked out of my hands. I looked up, not shocked at all to see that it was my in-laws, and they did not look happy to see me. They told me this was a family barbecue and that strangers were not allowed. Then they started to talk down while everyone watched. They said some very touchy things that made me feel insecure, and feels that maybe I should not have gone there, and that it was not just worth it. I could have stood there and taken anything, but once they started speaking about my mother, questioning her morals, and saying she was a bad parent, I could not just stand there. I answered back telling them that the people only tolerate them out of respect, otherwise they suck. We're stuck in loveless marriage and could only agree with each other when it came to making someone else's life hell. Then I felt a painful stick on my chest and someone else pushed me. My dress ripped when it caught on to something. My father-in-law still had his hand raised and my mother-in-law was making to grab for me with her sharp nails and everyone was just watching as if it was a film. I was expecting to be attacked even further by my father-in-law when he was dragging away, and then I saw my husband looking super pissed. His mother tried to speak, but he told her to shut the duck up. It felt so satisfying to hear him say those words I've wanted to say for ages. While everyone stood there, mouths wide open like fish gasping out of water, he told them to their face that they were done messing with his life. From that day on, he was no longer a part of their family. He was disowning them because they lacked respect. Furthermore, he said he was done trying to keep the peace, so now we were sticking to our original plan, that we were not going to give anything to them. He also told them that they're not welcome at our house ever again. If they even dare set foot in our yard, then he would call the police on them instantly. Well, there were witnesses at the barbecue who would have gladly helped us file a case of assault after what they did to me, but we decided that we're going to take the high road. It was his own decision to cut ties with his family, and As his wife, I fully support him. We cannot have kids in such a toxic environment where his parents only see money when they look at us like a ATM machine. They tried to get him to change his mind and blame me for the stuff I said in defense of my mother, but he does not want to hear anything against me. I tried to tell him it's okay, but he appears to still feel guilty because of the days when we were fighting. I understand where he's coming from. Family is important to him, and he was afraid of losing them, but at last he came to his senses and realized that they do not want what's best for him. At least we have a family who absolutely loves him and has not, at least once, used what's happened to his parents against him. So far, they have not attempted to contact us, and we're avoiding them because we still have to live in the same town. We did block them on all social medias and phone calls, as well as changed our numbers, only giving the new ones to people we trust. I still cannot believe that people can be so cold-hearted over materialistic items. Now, they've also lost their son and some of their family members because they decided to take our side, seeing how they treated me at the barbecue. It's about time that people see them for the vultures that they truly are. Alright guys, so, I don't know, I kind of felt like the husband at first was a giant doormat. I mean, I don't know what took him so long to finally stand up for his wife. It took months on months of abuse that his wife was suffering from, and then one day at the family barbecue, I guess he's seen enough of it. He said, you know what? My wife can't be part of this family? Well, neither am I. I'm disowning you guys, no contact anymore, and I'm going to join my wife's family. Let me know though, guys. Did OP's husband wait way too long to grow a spiny back? Or was he basically a doormat for the most of the time? Let me know in the comment section down below, guys. Thank you so much for your opinions. The next and final story of the day is titled, My boyfriend of 5 years just disclosed to me that he does not believe women should be allowed to vote. Yeah, he's not normally political, but all of a sudden he's going on this tirade and telling me some things I did not want to hear. I don't want to cause any political debates. If it's necessary for context, obviously I believe that women should be allowed to vote. I'm so confused. I don't know what to think. I'm not even sure if this is proper, but I just feel that I need some advice. In the time I've known him, my boyfriend was always just politically independent. Or so I thought. Politics was never an issue between us at all. However, he just admitted to me that over the past year, he's grown more and more extreme in his views, to the point that he believes women have ruined the country. By the way, we're American, and that they should not be allowed to vote. He says he did not feel comfortable telling me this sooner because he thought that he would lose me. I'm upset, and I can't tell if I'm wrong to be upset about this because I know everyone's entitled to their own views and opinions, but now I just feel as though he doesn't even value my own input or views. He has assured me that he still thinks that I should be allowed to vote, but the other women in general should not. This is a person I've been with for almost 5 years. We've talked about marriage. We've talked about children. I don't know what to think. In all other aspects, he's the perfect, most amazing partner. And I can't imagine my life without him in it, but this suddenly has me rethinking a lot. Am I wrong to be questioning our relationship over his new beliefs? As his girlfriend, I'm supposed to be tolerant and respectful of his views, even though I may strongly disagree. I can't tell if I'm overreacting to this or not. This whole situation has made me feel terrible and simply so confused. Okay, so let me know your thoughts on this. I do have a similar situation comment that we're going to read. My ex-boyfriend, who I dated for 3 years, said the same thing to me. He believed women having the right to vote ruined the USA, and that he believed that women should not have the right to vote, except for me, of course. He ended up getting more misogynistic or showing it more as we dated, and even publicly shamed me for not being able to wash dishes. I can, by the way. I'm Chinese, and my parents did not allow the use of dishwashers, so he was unnecessarily just being an a-hole. When we were shopping at a supermarket and came upon a pair of gloves, other things as well, such as randomly calling me a witch and other names after I went out to dinner with my mom because he was assuming I was going out to hook up. Yeah, I don't know. Well, in the end, it means he doesn't respect your views regardless of what he says. And that may or will likely lead to him disrespecting you, less as a person. 5 years is a long time, and I understand your hesitation, especially if he's been pretty much perfect otherwise. And dating nowadays is just awful. I would have a conversation with him and see why he thinks that way. I can't give you advice on whether you should end the relationship or not, only you know the details of that. However, in my opinion and personal experience, these types of guys tend to become abusive as time goes on because, well, this way of thinking about women really poisons them. They'll treat you well until things don't go their way. So guys, I have a question for you now that we've heard this similar situation. Do you agree with that commenter or not? Let me know your situations, drop down below. That's all the stories I have for you guys today. Don't forget to subscribe. You can check all the channel links down below. Have a wonderful day, and remember, it's cool to be kind.